Public Health. My supervisor is Professor Sylvester Chima. Well, that's my tentative title, and I intended to study the factors, or rather evaluate the relationship between various factors and medical waste management among healthcare workers. And this will be a comparative study between these affected districts in Uganda and here in South Africa.
It's not moving. The arrows. Use the arrows.
All right. So this is the outline of the study, and or rather the presentation. As we go down, we shall be looking at each of the items in there. We start with the introduction. Globally, that should be 10 billion tons of waste are generated per annum, and 2 billion of these is municipal solid waste. This is the component to which medical waste belongs. Medical waste is any waste that is generated in the process of diagnostics and treatment. It is estimated that up to 16,000 million injections are administered worldwide, or were administered worldwide in 2010 by World Health Organization. But these, not all of them were disposed of properly. Waste management involves different processes, from generation to minimization, segregation, storage, and transport. And omissions that occur at any of these phases can cause deleterious effect to the environment and human health. So this is the premise of the study, rather of the problem, and our issue here is the poor waste management. As we see from this data analysis, there is a form of color coding, and these factors are related to the institutions, rather the country specific. These are related to the institutions, and the ones in blue are related to personnel or personal factors. From the coding, as we have seen above, I came up with 3 categories or aggregates of the factors, and as we can see from the institutional factors, we have adequacy or absence of policies. We have professional bodies that may be unable to enforce the standards of waste management, insufficiency of receptacles. We have inadequacy of supervision and poor documentation, plus the rest that appear there. From the personnel factors, we have background, lack of training in waste management, healthcare providers who don't view waste management as their responsibility. And from the country-specific factors, we are looking at limited logistics, vital constraints, and inadequate understanding of medical waste. From the factors that are there above, I've come up with a conceptual framework, and from here, still the factors are aggregated into the 3 categories that they are, and we are looking at institutional factors, personnel, and country-specific. All these unilaterally or in combination, as they synergize each other, would or may influence the healthcare workers' awareness and performance of waste management, and they all lead to poor waste, or may lead to poor waste management. So this is our statement of the problem, and as we can see, up to 25% of the total waste generated during healthcare activities constitute infectious or hazardous waste. And this is the portion of waste or the waste stream that is associated with significant contamination and disease causation. So the harmful effects of waste and its management are diverse, and this depends on the type of waste. However, just waste in general, and in particular, clinical waste poses a global challenge in terms of environmental, local, regional, and global climate, plus public health consequences. And what is important here also is to note that these consequences do not have geographical limitations or boundaries. Consequently, there are high cases of injuries for people who get in contact with this kind of waste. Now, the state of management of medical waste at a global level is difficult to quantify, and but it's estimated that up to about 6.5 million deaths are associated globally with air pollution that can be attributed to poor waste management. Now, 23% of these deaths here are thought to be in Africa. In addition, ineffective waste management and disposal technologies themselves may be associated with, for instance, emissions of hazardous gases and some which are probably greenhouse gases. And here, the World Health Organization reported in its study that 65% of healthcare facilities do not actually manage their waste or disposal of it properly. Medical waste, although classified as hazardous waste, unfortunately does not have an international convention. So each country does its own thing. There's no unified way of managing medical waste. It's estimated that the individual risk of contracting, for example, blood-borne infection following an injury with contaminated needle stick would be about 60% of the time, 30% of the time, 1.8 and 0.3 for those are acronyms for hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C, and HIV respectively in that order. So lack of personnel protection equipment in Uganda, for instance, in that study was found to be at 43%, and this mirrored again the kinds of burden of illness or disease that were related to the blood-borne disease that were related to waste injuries. Yes. The most problematic but yet important phase of waste management is that of segregation at the point of generation, with availability of personal protection equipment and appropriate receptor use and their availability. And the receptacles, implying the waste bins plus the correctly color-coded waste of plastic bags. The factors that could contribute singularly or in combination to poor waste management can be aggregated into those that are institutional, like we saw above, personnel, and country-specific factors. The following, however, are but some of the individual factors that we looked at. And limitation of awareness among hospital personnel regarding health hazards of infectious waste and absence of comprehensive guidelines and legislation on waste management are vital to sufficient regime. Nonetheless, in some places, it has been noted that these are not adhered to. Then poor understanding regarding medical waste types has been reported in several studies as being major contributors to poor medical waste handling, and those are the studies that were that reported this phenomena. Insufficient staffing and heavy workloads are experienced by doctors or these healthcare workers affect the adequacy of waste handling. Finally, budgetary constraints in developing countries may negatively influence the management of medical waste. This table shows us the research questions, objectives, the variables that we are looking at, and the indicators. So our general research question here is, what are the factors that contribute to poor waste management, and the corresponding general objectives to develop the framework that would be utilized to improve management of medical waste in Uganda and South Africa. The first specific objective is, specific question is, to what extent do institutional factors influence the management of medical waste? The corresponding specific objective is to determine the extent to which institutional factors affect the management of medical waste. The second general objective is, what is the association of country-specific factors and poor management of medical waste, with corresponding objective being to establish the nature of the relationship between the country-specific factors and the management of waste. How do personnel factors lead to poor medical waste management? And the corresponding objective is to determine if personnel factors influence management of waste. The last objective here is to what alternative interventional strategy framework could be proposed to enhance management of medical waste. And the objective is to propose a framework for improve the medical waste management in Uganda and South Africa. While still on this table, we consider the variables, and here I've got only one dependent variable, which is management of medical waste, and the corresponding independent variables for each specific objective. For the first specific objective that is concerned with decisional factors, I'm looking at independent variables being policies, supervision, receptacles. These, I said, were appropriate waste bins and waste bags, color-coded waste bags, personal protection equipment, and workload. The indicators for these were all to be knowledge of policies, supervision, and others. And the variables here, independent variables, training workshops in relation to waste, budgetary constraints, curriculum of education, and resources. For the background, for the personnel factors, I'm considering the background factors, demographic attributes, compliance, and knowledge. It should just be knowledge. This is the graphic orientation of the study, and this is just our Africa. Uganda is somewhere in East Africa, this is our South Africa here, and the study shall be based here in Kampala and in Itegon district in South Africa. In terms of sampling, the researcher shall first work on the sampling for the study sites, and to make sure that there is a balance there, we shall include the national referral hospital in Kampala and also the provincial referral hospital in Itegon district, and those are how we shall go about the rest of the sites. For data sampling, we shall start sampling based on the different wards and categories of healthcare workers. Yeah, the study methodologies for each question here, we shall be looking at, for each research question, we have a uniform cross-sectional analytical study design, and the data collection tool shall be a structured question in all of them. Objectives and statement of data analysis. The first objective, which is to determine the extent to which institutional factors affect management of waste. Here we shall be looking at the extent to which institutional factors, which are provision of corrective receptacles, personal protective equipment, and patient numbers, provision and all that, how they affect management of medical care. This shall be assessed after controlling for country-specific and personnel factors. I'm looking at using ANOVA as my statistic analytical method, but I need first to do a lot of consultation for all this because I'm not so sure about it. These are the ethical issues and with corresponding mitigation or managerial approaches, which I'll have to seek the different permissions from institutions, including DREC and the Department of Health from respective districts. And of course, we shall have to respect the rights of the participants as well by seeking consent, which has to be informed and prospective at all times. This is basically my work plan, and it's also still some bit of work in progress, and the budget still work on that, and those are my references.
So you gave us one surprise. I don't know whether the facilitators saw the surprise. It's the first time I'm hearing that this project will happen in Uganda and South Africa. This never featured. And it would have changed, the way we would have advised. Because I'm not sure there is great value in doing it in the two countries, unless you want to make it a comparative study, which I'm not seeing any objectives. So I just saw this, am I right, participants, that is a surprise?
One of the objectives actually,
No, don't defend that one. Just tell us what value is there in doing the two countries?
Well, having it done in Uganda and here, especially that we do have different socio-economic situations, that would give us an idea as whether the observed management, say, way of managing waste is influenced by, for instance, the budgetary allocations or the availability of issues such as supervision, training workshops, or actually also to find out if probably the basic education matters. And so we shall be looking at is there any weaknesses or any strengths we can pick from the different teaching modalities that these healthcare workers go through? Or is it about the supervision, or is it about the availability of resources that the workers have at their hospital basis?
Would it make a difference if you did it in South Africa, in Mozambique, or in Zambia?
I do not think well, probably there wouldn't be a difference if Zambia does not have, because now I'm looking at the differences in the socioeconomic status of two different countries.
Okay, I think you just need to engage with your supervisor and think through that. Yes, do you want to add something? Yeah.
I'm concerned that your study is going to be too big, because now you're going to come up with two strategies. You can't come up with one strategy for two countries. If their circumstances are very different, you have to have two. So is this, so I'm not clear, is this a comparative study?
Yes, sure.
Or is it, because your heading is not clear. Just go back to your heading. For me, your heading is a master's heading. It's not a PhD heading. Because you don't talk about the strategy. And the PhD is the strategy. A comparative study of two settings, that's a master's study. Your outcome is what makes the difference for a PhD. And yours is a strategy. But now you can't have a strategy for two countries. I really don't think that's going to work. So I suggest you stick to one country. Because now you're starting to have two different things. You're starting to have a comparison. And then you may have to have two strategies. And that concerns me. My second,
Yes, the supervisor is here.
yeah, well,
his voice.
my second, can I just make my second comment is about your objective 3. I'm just concerned about the wording. If. Use the word if. And the reply to an if is yes or no. Number 3. The next page. To determine if personal factors, if, and that's a yes or no. So I think you need to say to determine to what extent personal factors influence.
That
That's
must
the
be
difference.
sneaked out through the filters because we removed it.
If it's, the reply to if is yes or no.
No, it's
No, the reply to if is a yes or no.
I think the point should be not
whether, not if.
If knowledge helps, yes or no.
To determine the influence of personal factors.
It's just a semantic issue.
It's
If
a
you remove
semantic-
the F, you say, what factors?
Exactly.
You look
But
at
that's-
what factors.
that's
The
the-
if you should not be there. That's
Yes,
fine.
so what I'm saying is words become very important when you're writing. So you need to make sure you have the right words. What I'm saying is that I would suggest you change the if to something else because the outcome of if is yes or no.
Yes, Prof, you wanted to add something?
Yeah. It's as you were trying to develop the proposal, as you well know. So part of the reason attending the course is for us to be able to, work on the proposal and all the, how do I say, criticisms are taken into consideration. Now, in terms of the comparative study, he has done some studies he's familiar with Uganda. He has done a master's in waste management based on Uganda. So we wanted to do a more African, because there's no value in just studying, well, there is some value, but the idea is this, the laws and regulations in South Africa are far more developed. So for the Ugandans, it would be of benefit to know how well, health, waste management is being managed in a more developed country, as opposed to, a less developed country in Africa. Then we look at other factors. So we look at the factors talking about whether there's, issues of budget, whether there's issues of training, whether issues of this. The only way to do that is to compare the two. So it's a comparison. Again, we're working on the title, right? I don't know if you put the title here. So
My suggestion then would be to just do it for Uganda and to have one objective that looks at different strategies in Mozambique or somewhere in West Africa, somewhere in South Africa, different countries. But you have one objective that does a comparative analysis of what's happening in other countries. Otherwise, you've got a big study on it.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, just one small comment. I think I didn't get the time frame or the time plane. I saw you've included it in the outlines in the beginning. So I think it's also good for you to be able to track your progress of the study because without a clearly defined time plane, you wouldn't know if you are meeting certain objectives in time. The study might go on forever. we might have you for 10 years in UKZN, which we ideally don't want. So I think just another emphasis. So when you design, you have your objectives in your framework. You already have a specific time frame where you think you would have met each and every objective, and it helps the planning out, especially in the issue of trying to get this to publications. And remember that if you've got an objective that will eventually become a paper, that will also help you track your progress.
Okay, thank you very much.